Howdy y'all, it's Cody from the Keepers Nerdum. How you doing? Let's talk about one of the strongest things in Warhammer 40k right now for the Necrons, the Canoptic Wraiths. There's some other stuff that's probably technically stronger than it, but is it as versatile? Let's find out. Okay, so we're talking about the Canoptic Wraiths today. You can have them as 3 models or 6, 110 or 220. Really simple there. Okay, movement of 10 inches. Ridiculous movement. 6 toughness, so a little bit tougher than your normal model, which is good. 3-up save with a 4-up invuln save. Fantastic. Just epic tier stuff right there. 4 wounds apiece. 8 plus leadership, so not great leadership, but probably won't be losing very many right away. 2 OC. Really pretty good, and especially with how big their bases are, you'll be fine. I'd love to show off one of mine right now, but they have not been painted yet. So they're just in an existent state of built, but not painted, so they just look terrible. All right, so first off, we have area animation protocols, so they get to heal and or resurrect stuff, and vice versa, back and forth stuff on a D3. So you get 1, 2, or 3 wounds back, or res 1, and then 1 or 2 more wounds, whatever you got. Wraith form. Each time this unit ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit and move over during that move, and that just means literally slightly over and slightly back. Because this has the fly keyword, it can do that. It can fly over those things. Roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. So that's up to 6. Well, no, it's worse than that. Ooh. Okay, this gets kind of weird because not only could it have a leader now of a Technomancer, you could technically have Cryptothralls with this, so it could be up to those 3 more models. Roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. For each 4+, an enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound, just straight up. You didn't attack them, you just get to do this roll, and for each 4-up 50-50 shot, they suffer a mortal wound. Crazy stuff, and trust me, you'll be taking at least a Necromancer, or a Technomancer. A Necromancer, why don't we have a Necromancer for the Necrons? Anyway, that'd be 7 rolls. So potentially 3 or 4 successes, which is some mortal wounds that might get rid of a model. Pretty cool thing. Side note down here, keywords we should just talk about. They're beasts, and let's just go through real quick. This is ruins, kind of the old concept that we see of the picture. And ruins, the movement in the middle section up there, infantry and beast models can move through this terrain feature. As if it were not there, a model cannot end a move within a wall or floor. Infantry, beasts, and fly models can be set up or end a move on any floor level of this terrain. But okay, anyway. So just basically they can move through things, so they're not hindered by that movement. Very, very cool stuff. So what do we got for weapons here? So ranged weapons, we have Partocaster, which is devastating wounds and pistol. So it can be fired in melee and has dev wounds. So on dev wounds, every 6 means that just go into a mortal wound. So you get 3 attacks with each of those models. It's only 12-inch range, but both weapons are 12 inches. 4-up ballistic skill for both. The Transdimensional Beater has no special abilities, but only 1 attack each. Strength 5 for the pistol, 4 for the Transdimensional Beamer, 0 AP on the Particle Caster. Transdimensional Beamer has -2. The Particle Caster pistol has 1 damage, and the Transdimensional Beamer has 3. So it looks like Transdimensional Beamer would be the thing that you'd want. However, because of the devastating wounds, the Particle Caster pistol has more versatility, and it wounds more effectively because it's a higher strength. So the AP actually being 0 may not really matter. It's really weird. And ironically, in the best detachment for them, it could very well be that you could give the Transdimensional Beaver devastating wounds. You can't give the Particle Caster because it already has it, but it's just kind of interesting to think you could. But it would be at most 6 shots, and 1/6 might go through. So the melee weapons is where things get really tough. Let's just go through one each at a time. Vicious Claws. It's melee, 4 attacks, 4-up weapon skill, 6 strength, -1 AP, 2 damage. And the -1 AP in melee is going to happen. Like the AP is going to get through unless they have some sort of special ability otherwise. Whip Coils, on the other hand, are 8 attacks, so double the attacks, 4-up weapon skill, 5 strength, so a little less strength, 0 AP, 1 damage. The Vicious Claws, they're going to more successfully go through consistently. Now, however, you could use a stratagem from the Canoptic Court to give the Whip Coils devastating wounds, and that's 8 attacks versus 4, so that would actually be better. But the Vicious Claws overall are going to go through more consistently on their own and have a higher wounding because of their strength being 6. Just kind of interesting pieces there. So any number of models can each be equipped with one of the following, so you can mix and match Particle Casters, Transdimensional Beamers, and you can switch out their Vicious Claws with Whip Coils, your choice. You could have a mix and match. This is really crazy stuff. So first off, what's a good leader for them? Well, there's only one leader, so we're going to go up here really quickly and grab him. The Technomancer, there he is. The Technomancer, he's really a pretty solid Staff of Lights. Not bad at all as far as things. At least has AP -2. Not great range or anything, but it works. And if you're leading them, because now they have changed it down here, he's a leader that can be attached to the following units: Wraiths, Immortals, Necron Warriors. This is really interesting. So he can help. He's the only thing that can lead the Canoptek Wraiths, which ironically the Crypto Thralls can jump in with him, but they're not that great. And they would slow the whole group down because Technomancer does have a 10-inch movement. So he keeps up with the Wraiths, and it is really a neat thing. Very cool stuff. So we're not really playing him for these stats. What are we playing him for? We're playing him for the things over here. First off, let's just look at Technomancer for a second. At the end of your movement phase, you can select one friendly Necron's model within 6 inches of the bear. That model regains up to D3 lost wounds. Each model can only be selected for this ability once per turn. The Wraiths have 4 wounds, same as the Technomancer, and actually you get to use the Technomancer's leadership of 6+. That's very good. And that's crazy. So you could be healing the... So it's interesting. You could resurrect one in your command phase, and then in movement phase, at the end of it, you could actually heal one of the Wraiths that came back or was still wounded. Pretty cool stuff there. But Rites of Reanimation is where things get really interesting. And it's funny because they call it Rites of Reanimation, and this has nothing to do with reanimation. This has everything to do with just durability. I think they should have switched these names. It should be Technomancer for this up here and Rites of Reanimation for the one below it. But Rites of Reanimation. While this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have the Feel No Pain 5-up ability. So not only do you get to have your invuln save of 4-up on those Wraiths, or a 3-up if they have no AP coming in, they could also, all of them, including the Technomancer, have a 5-up Feel No Pain. So after damage has gone through, you roll for each of those damage pieces, and on a 5 and 6, you don't take that damage. This is insanity because he's 60 points, but he makes all of a sudden these Wraiths just as durable as a Catan shard of whatever, right? The Nightbringer, the Deceiver, the Void Dragon, the Catan, Transcendent Catan, right? That they have this Feel No Pain just like them, and they're pretty cheap right now. And even with this extra 60 points, we're not talking about a major investment, because if we go back up here, oh yeah, we could just click down into his stuff, because let's go to Wraiths. So handy. So 220 plus 60, that's 280 points total. And you're still not even at, I think any, is any of them that cheap of those Catans? 265, okay. 255 for Nightbringer. It's so funny that Deceiver is more expensive right now than the Nightbringer. Whatever. So they're a little bit more expensive than the Catan shards, and they may just be almost as durable in a way. Now they don't have the Necrodermis thing, but they have a lot of bodies that can endure, right? It's pretty crazy stuff. And this is where things get really nutty here, is that the Wraiths, there can be, you can have 6 of them with a Technomancer, with 5-up Feel No Pain, with 4-up Invuln Save, with weaponry that's pretty solid. You know, they're not as strong as far as offensively as the Catan shards or the Transcendent Catan, but there's a lot of bodies and there's a lot of wounds, and they don't have the Necrodermis, so it's kind of that interesting balance of which one you choose, and the answer is yes. They're both really good for different reasons. So let's talk about Canoptek Court first off for a moment, because they are Canopteks, or Canoptek, and then the Technomancer would be a Cryptek. So if you're in your power matrix, which basically if you control the objective markers, or at least more of them, you get that section of the board. And if you are in that area, or just anytime you make an attack roll, you get to reroll a hit roll of 1 period if you're Canoptek or Cryptek. If your unit is wholly within a power matrix, you get to reroll the hit roll instead. So all of a sudden, these are looking really more powerful in a way than even some of the Catans, just as far as they're going to reroll, even though it's only a 4-up, so 50-50 shot, they get to try that 50-50 shot twice on both of these attack things. And it's just really interesting stuff. And oh, did I mention they might even move faster than that? Now, we could play the Hypercrypt Legion where they're teleporting around, which is really pretty crazy anyway. So let's see. Let's see. There it is. That's the first one. Dimensional Sanctum for 20 extra points. Cryptek model only. Models in the bearer's unit have the Infiltrators keyword. So then during deployment, if your model in a unit has this ability, then when you set it up, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from the enemy deployment zone and all enemy models. Wow. That's crazy. Or you could put on the Hyperphasic Fulcrum onto your Technomancer for 15 points. And while the bear is leading unit, if that unit is wholly within your army's power matrix, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. So you could reroll hit rolls and a wound roll of 1. Pretty insane. Let's see. Auto Divinator, does that do any good? Each time your opponent gains a CP as a result of an ability, roll a d6 on a 2-up, you gain a CP. Meh, that's not useful. All right. Metallodermal Tesla Weave. Cryptic model only. Once per phase, when an enemy unit selects the bear's unit as a target of a charge, roll 1d6. On a 2 through 5, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, that enemy unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. So you could actually make them even more defensively beneficial. Like they would have some more protection, could even take out a one model out of a unit before they even get to them in melee. Pretty crazy stuff. So some pretty interesting things to just think about. Let's see if there's any good stratagems here. Right here, the reactive subroutines is where things get real interesting. It has to be one canoptic unit from your army is within 9 inches of that enemy unit that just moved. Just ends its normal advance, fallback, or normal move. And then you can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So you can move closer to them, or you can move away and just go, you know what, we're actually going back to the objective. You're not going to actually be able to charge us this turn unless you roll like a 12. That's pretty crazy. Okay, devastating wounds. We could give them that. It's not great unless you're using the whip coils. Okay. Counter temporal shift. One canoptic unit. So again, doesn't apply to the Catan shards in any way. And once they're chosen as the target of one or more of the attacking units' attacks until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 12 inches. You could turn off an attack on them. That's crazy. Yikes. All right. Here we go. One Cryptek model from your army. So it's only the Cryptek itself. Select one objective marker within 18 inches of your Cryptek model. Until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by friendly Necrons models have the ignores cover ability while targeting units within range of that objective marker. If you've seen our previous video talking about the Immortals, you could make their Gauss weapons ignore cover onto that objective, and all of a sudden you get that -1 AP, so they do become more useful. And it's all friendly Necrons models. So that's a lot. Like, it's a lot of insanity. And then we have suboptimal facade. You get to make your reanimation protocols activate. We've seen that in the Awakened Dynasty. It's all right, nothing there. So basically, once a Cryptek model is destroyed, so say your leader gets wiped out, until the end of the battle, each time a friendly canoptic model makes an attack, targets the attacking unit that destroyed the Cryptek, you get to add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound roll. That's pretty crazy, right? These are some interesting things. Let's talk about the Hypercrypt Legion real quick, see if there's anything amazing here. Obviously, being able to just teleport, you just can't be within 9 inches, and then you have some other restrictions if you're not Deep Strike. So let's see what enhancements we can give them. Well, the bearers on the battlefield are in such reserves, add 1 more to the hyperphasing rule, so you can get up to 5 units in the biggest. It's kind of crazy. Arisen Tyrant, Necron's model only. It's 25 points. Good gracious. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If the bearer's unit was set up on the battlefield this turn, you can reroll a hit roll instead. Okay, that's really cool. Lots of rerolls there, so you could act like you're the Canoptic Court right there with them. Necron's model only. Each time the bearer's unit advances, do not make an advance roll. For instead, until the end of the phase, add 6 inches to the move characteristic. So it just becomes 6 instead of a roll. Okay. And then Osteoclave Fulcrum, Necron's model only. Models in the bearer's unit have the Deep Strike ability. So you could turn them into having the ability to Deep Strike as well. Whereas the other one, the Canoptic Court, gives them the Infiltrators. Pretty crazy. Let's see their stratagems real quick. 1, Necron's Infantry. So that does not work for them. Well, would they be? They might actually, because the Technomancer might make them that. Let's see here. Uh-oh. Let's see. Does Technomancer make them infantry? I'm going to laugh if it does. Infantry. Okay, actually this does. That applies. That's hilarious. So one Necron's infantry unit from an army that had one or more of its models destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks, and one friendly monolith model. Remove your infantry unit from the battlefield and set it back up anywhere on the battlefield that's wholly within 6 inches of your monolith and not within engagement range of other enemy units. Nice. Okay, Cosmic Precision. You can actually take one Necron's unit that's deep striking or hyperphasing abilities, and you can set them up within 3 inches, but they can't charge. So just really good board control there. Really, really powerful. One Necron's vehicle. That doesn't apply to them. Okay. One Necron's unit from your army of Dimensional Corda that was set up on the battlefield this turn using the Eternity Gate ability of a monolith that started the turn on the battlefield. Your unit is eligible to charge this phase. I don't think they technically can, but let's see, because I don't remember the monolith's new ability with that. So you select one Necron's infantry. Actually, they could because of the Technomancer. My goodness. As long as the monolith starts the turn on the board. You could do some interesting things with that. You could still charge. So you had to start the turn on the battlefield, but you were taken and put over there by the monolith. You could still charge. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Interesting. The Wraiths would be very powerful for that too, because they could survive a hit back. You target your Necron Warlord, feature your Necron's unit, reserve units reanimation protocols activate. That's cool. Doesn't really help directly, but it would. Okay, that doesn't help for them. All right, well, those are the big things. Awakened Dynasty obviously would make them +1 to hit, which would be good, and you'd have your pretty standard abilities. We can at least look at it here. Obviously, you could Veil of Darkness them, which, I mean, that would work too. You could give them stealth. That's interesting. Wow. You could give them +1 to the hit roll. Add 1 to the hit roll. Oh, that's just Phasal Subjugator for the aura. Yeah, that wouldn't work for them because it already had +1 to hit. And then Feel No Pain for the bearer of 4 up. Not useful. Okay, so see, is there anything else here that really works for them? This will be the last one we'll really look at tonight on this. One infantry character. At the end of the phase, set your model back up on the battlefield. Okay, resurrected. That's cool. So you could resurrect their leader. One Necron's unit from your army for Protocol Sudden Storm. Ranged weapons get Assault. And if they're being led, you can reroll advance rolls. Cool. It's useful. One Necron's unit in the shooting phase or fight phase that had one or more of its models destroyed. Your unit activates reanimation, D3 or D3 +1 if they have a character leading. Protocol of Conquering Tyrant. One Necron's unit from an army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets the unit within half range, reroll a hit roll of 1. If a Necron character is leading it, reroll a hit roll instead. It would still have to be within half range, I think. Oh, no, it's just instead, so you just get to reroll the hit roll, period. Weird. Very weird. Hungry Void has not been selected to fight this phase yet, and so until the end of the phase, add 1 of the strength characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models. That's cool. And if they're being led, improve the AP by 1. That could be very useful for them, actually. And then Protocol of Vengeful Stars, your opponent's shooting phase, just an enemy destroys a Necron's unit from your army. So you have to destroy an entire unit. One Necron's character unit from your army that was within 6 inches of that Necron's unit one Necron's character unit when it was destroyed. After the attacking unit has resolved its attacks, they've changed that quite a bit. Your unit can shoot as if it were shooting phase, but it must target only that enemy unit when doing so, and can only do so if that enemy unit is an eligible target. Interesting. So, yeah. And this one doesn't work for them very well at all because they're not historical or flayed ones. Sad day. So, the interesting thing about the Wraiths, they are durable. There's a lot of them. They have a lot of bodies that take up a lot of space. They are board controllers extraordinaire, and they are very durable. They are no tomb blades, that's for sure. They are something else. Tomb blades have their use, but these are your mainline, frontline fighters that the Lichguard Sword and Shield boys used to be. Times have changed, haven't they? And these are so much faster than them, and their price is really good for what they give us. I expect that these will be nerfed at some point sometime soon. Well, what do you think about Canoptic Wraiths? You excited about them? Have you used them? I'm guessing you have if you like Necrons. I know I am really excited to mess around with them some more. And man, they've just gotten me really excited about the Canoptic Court, even though it's not necessarily the one winning all the battles right now. The Hypercrypt Legion's doing amazing. The Canoptic Court is just really interesting because it changes Necrons as a whole, that now it's become more about the robots that defend the the tomb worlds. Pretty cool to see that they have done a different take on it. And it's like, yeah, I had to get a lot of different units to play this different type, but now I'm like, I have two very different kind of Necrons things that then mix a little bit together with some of the battle line units and so a few things, but it's really cool to see. And I can't wait to try Canoptic Court as well. But I hope you've enjoyed talking through a little bit of the Canoptic Race. Why are they so good? What's going on with them? Do I say use them? Yeah, use them. They're pretty ridiculous. They're a lot of fun. I've been Cody from Keepers Nerddom. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know down in the comments below what you think about these things. What's your experience? Is it something I missed? Is there any other issues or things that you'd say, yeah, no, these have more things on them? Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and take care. Bye, y'all.